we've got a question, again, you touched on it earlier on, around the regions. Lydia, who's based in Wales, she'd love to help you build an audience in Wales, providing great stories. Like, again, are you looking specifically in the regions for that sort of support from local knowledge to provide that insight?
Yeah, and actually this goes beyond just the regions, but let's talk about the regions. Absolutely right. We want to reflect the issues as they are in all the regions. You know, when we did our pilot on Tuesday, Asma and I, we were talking about the social distancing rules, and we had to be very clear. They weren't being changed in Wales. They weren't being changed in Scotland. They'd already been changed in Northern Ireland, I think, at that point. And so you've got to, particularly on these big national stories in inverted commas, you've got to recognise that nations are all different. The Times has a good presence in Scotland and a pretty good presence in Ireland, which we'll be making use of. Wales less so, so we'll have to work on that. But it's exactly right. We want to reflect life as it is, not just as we experience it if we live in London. That will be a test. If you look at our presenter lineup, we're fairly broadly have geographic origins. So Gloria is a Midlander, but she really has lived in the Midlands, and she applied her trade having to listen to the concerns of Midlanders. I'm from the Midlands, Asma's Scottish. We're doing a show out of Manchester. Our Phil Williams show is out of Manchester, so that's being broadcast there every day. We'll come down to London a little bit, but it's a Manchester show. We need to make sure we think particularly of the devolved regions and make sure we come there, but also we get people from there. Scotland, I think, could be more straightforward in the first instance because Times Scotland is a good enterprise. They've done well in Scotland. The Times has and the Sunday Times, so we'll make use of they've got offices there, they've got studios there, so we can make use of that. And then, but no, it's exactly right. Regionality is very important. And then I'm very keen on this point. I don't know if this is any of interest to this audience, but I think it's to an audience. I think it's interesting. Is if you look at the competition, they're not very global. LBC doesn't really do foreign news. 5 Live doesn't really do foreign news. Radio 4 does The World Tonight, but doesn't really do much of it because they've got the World Service, which is brilliant. But outside of that, we can say, I'm very keen on getting people. We've got correspondents all around the world. The best thing they can do, in my opinion, is if they've got a story, tell us the story. After that, tell us what it's like to be in that country. What are the 3 biggest stories happening in Germany at the minute? What's the 3 biggest stories happening in South Korea? At the minute, a lot of it will be coronavirus and how we're handling things differently, which is interesting. But as life progresses, I'm very struck by the fact that we can introduce to people, if you were living in Germany today, the thing you would be talking about wouldn't be what we're talking about. It would be something completely different. And that's quite an exciting idea. And I find if we get some people we can bring into the family, so you know the Berlin correspondent of the Times is, they're good on the air, and once or twice a week you'll hear them saying, you know, what's blown up in Germany at the minute is this, and that sort of thing I think is actually of use to people and of interest as well.